I'm excited about this one.
Let's go.
Welcome to the show. In this episode of Dr. Witty Today, we discuss why teamwork is crucial in any organization for reasons such as enhanced problem solving, increased efficiency, improved morale, skill development, better communication, and achieving common goals. With a distinguished career in both corporate leadership and sports management, today's guest host, Dr. Cliff Freeman, is a dynamic force in the realm of corporate speaking. His journey includes successful tenures in the U.S. military, corporate boardrooms and stages, as well as the arena of various sports organizations. This unique blend of experiences positions Dr. Freeman as a speaker who bridges the gap between the business and sports worlds, offering a fresh perspective on teamwork and leadership. Whether he's sharing stories from his time in the military or insights from the sports field, Dr. Freeman's approach to leadership is both inspiring and practical. Listeners and viewers here and at home, please welcome our host, Dr. Witty.
Wow. Welcome to Dr. Witty Today. This is another great episode. I'm so glad that everybody out there is tuned in for this episode with Dr. Cliff Freeman. We're going to be talking about contagious teamwork. And I tell you, it's nothing like having a good team on your side when you're trying to accomplish a goal. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Dr. Cliff Freeman, welcome to the platform.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here. Glad to be a part of what is happening with the Dr. Witty Show. Appreciate you, man.
All right. How is your Monday going so far?
My Monday has been great. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, all is well. All is well.
All right. Mondays is, I remember a song called It's Just Another Manic Mondays.
Right.
So Mondays tend to be that day. Like for some people, it's Wednesday. For me, it's Monday. It's like I'm okay
Yeah.
on Wednesday, but that Monday is something else. It's like I don't want to come out of that weekend rest. So, but I'm excited to
Gotcha.
be here, and I'm just looking forward to this conversation about contagious teamwork. So, the first thing I want to do, if you don't mind, is I want you to tell us something that we may not know, an interesting fact about Dr. Cliff Freeman that was not mentioned in the introduction.
So something interesting. That's funny you start there. It's actually kind of on the screen, right? It's on the screen. It says I'm an ex-trumpeter. Uh, and that's not, listen. So let me say this. That's not an ex-trumper, okay? So that's not a political stand.
Okay.
That's an ex-trumpeter, like, playing the trumpet. Like that's what I mean. I've played the trumpet. Let's see, I started playing the trumpet when I was in, oh my gosh, maybe fifth grade, and I played it for a long time. And I don't play anymore, but I guess that's a fun, interesting fact about about me. Of course, Army vet, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, I used to play the trumpet, which is cool, which is fun.
All right. Well, we did know that, and I'm glad you clarified that because, yeah, we probably would have had somebody who would have thought that that was a political, some sort of statement. So I'm glad you
Not a,
clarified that. All right. So, contagious teamwork. I
yes,
want to
sir.
start off by your just learning what your definition of contagious is, and then also your definition of teamwork, and then put it all together for us.
Okay, great question. Glad to start there. Teamwork is my passion. I am passionate about teamwork and about folks working together on teams. So, what is contagious? Contagious is when something moves from something else rapidly. All right. All of us are familiar as 2024, right? So we can go back 4 years and we can look at the pandemic. We can look at the flu. We can look at all the different things that have been considered contagious, right? And contagious is when something just bounces, it bounces, it bounces. You may remember the movie Fallen. Whenever somebody touched somebody, you know, the little, I think it was a demon or I don't know. Anyway, it would go from one person to another. It would be contagious. Well, teamwork is when persons that have different roles, different functions, all come together for one common goal in order to accomplish it well. Now, contagious teamwork is when all of those persons come together that have different roles, different functions, different backgrounds, different idiosyncrasies, differences, right? And they're willing to come together with other people who have differences, who have coming from different background, maybe different culture, whatever the case may be, but are willing to come together. Why? Because they have the same goal. They have the same goal in mind. And because they have the same goal in mind, they begin to work together. And it creates this thing, it creates synergy, quite honestly. And what happens is when that teamwork happens so well, it becomes contagious. Just like a cold is contagious. It begins to permeate throughout the entire organization, the entire division, the entire company, and even spills over to other companies as well.
Great definition. I was thinking about something that I saw when I was looking over the subject, and I read that with contagious teamwork, you lose sight of time. Like you're so busy being engaged in the teamwork and you're so excited about what you're doing. You're excited about the goal that you're trying to reach. You're excited about the team that you're working together with. So much so that you can just go on and lose complete track of time. And that right there is an indicator that you're doing some great work on a team, because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but I've been on teams where, people are just, looking at their watch. You got somebody going off to
Yeah,
the side
yeah.
or holding another conversation, and it's just not working out. So I like how you talked about how everybody is sort of excited, and that contagious type of spirit that is on one person, and it just moves from one person to the next, and then everybody has that same synergy and energy flowing through the group, and everybody's on one accord. So I like that.
Absolutely.
So you've already talked about that, and why is that so crucial in organizations, but more specifically organizations today?
So it is crucial and essential because I like to say it like this, because in this corporate spectrum, sector, sports organizations, schools, any type of organization there is, productivity, performance, and profits are paramount. People want to make more money if they're in business. If they're in medicine, they want to take care of their patients or they want to take care of their clients. They want to be productive. They want to perform well, right? How many times do you go somewhere and they give you the survey and they want you to, how many stars did we get today and all of that? Because those things are so important. This is the way I like to say it. All of those things are increased through good teamwork, not individualism. You cannot grow an organization or whatever with individualism. That's quite honestly, that's the problem. That's the problem when it comes to when it comes to teamwork, is when what stops teamwork is people being stuck on being individuals, or they're not knowing how to be a team player. I remember Shaquille O'Neal tells a story about Kobe when Kobe came to the Lakers. The late Kobe Bryant comes to the Lakers and he gets there and everybody on the team is like, man, Shaq, you need to talk to Kobe. He won't pass the ball. He won't pass the ball. So and so and so. And Shaq says, all right, I say something. Shaq looks over at Kobe in the locker room. He says, hey, Kobe, There's no I in team. Now, I'm going to say this in a kind way. And Kobe looks at Shaq and says, yeah, but there is an M and an E in that mother, fill in the blank. So his whole thought was, I'm trying to get mine. Now watch this. The reason everybody on here that's listening to this podcast can flow and understand that phrase, I'm trying to get mine, is because it has become a regular phrase that I'm trying to get what's mine. I'm out for mine. I'm trying to do me. And all of that is counterproductive to accomplishing any kind of goal. And so teamwork really happens, productivity and profits and all the rest, and performance and everything is great. It's done with excellence when we all realize we got to work together. And so it can't be done by one person. Now, I like to say it like this: while a company might start in the mind of one person, it's not going to grow through one person. Okay. One person had the idea, one person had the concept, Elon Musk had the concept of starting or really catapulting Amazon, right? He had the concept, he had the thought, but he couldn't do it all himself, right? Jeff Bezos, not Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, he couldn't do it all himself. Steve Jobs couldn't do it all himself, and the list goes on and on. Bill Gates, the list goes on and on. That nobody can do things alone and do it well. African proverb, we all heard it. If you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So you need a team. I even tell my kids, all of you have to participate in at least one team sport. Yes, you can play tennis. You can go diving or whatever. Now they're still on a swim team or a tennis team, but it really, you really learn teamwork when you're on a team, when you're in a sport where you have to work together. If I may say so, if when I share my teamwork tips, when I share my strategies and all those kind of things, I really like to use football as an example. I love football. Yes, I'm a diehard 49er fan. Bang, bang, Niner gang. That's who I am. Yes, I live in New Jersey and I don't care. I'm still a football fan from Baltimore. Whitty, you know that. And, but I'm still a Niner fan. And so I really look at football as the ultimate team sport. You cannot be on a football field and be out and be successful and be out for yourself. You can't. You have to trust the next person. You have to trust this guy or this gal if you're playing flag football or whatever. You got to trust that they're going to do, watch this, their job. Not try to do what everybody's supposed to do. But remember, I told you, it starts with roles. You got to understand your role. The lineman's got to block, quarterback's got to get the ball, the running back's got to do his job. Your job might be to carry out a fake. That's all your job. Your job is just to carry out a fake. Your job is to run in this direction and pretend like you're going to get the ball. That's your job. When you do that job effectively, that guy that's 20 yards away from you will then be able to break free and possibly get a pass. And we possibly could score, right? It's the ultimate team sport. Teamwork, I wear it on my shirt. Teamwork is the phrase I love. It's not talent, it's trust. Teamwork has nothing to do with talent. It's all about trust. You've got that quarterback or that pitcher or whoever, you've got to trust that that other player is going to do what they need to do. So because productivity, profits, and performance is so important, there has to be something that's the catalyst to get it to be done. And there's something I use whenever I go speak or I do writings or share online. And it's an acronym, and the acronym is FREE. And I tell leaders when I start, I say, leaders, listen, I'm about to set you free. And everybody's kind of looking like, well, what do you mean set us free? Well, FREE is an acronym, FREE, focused, relentless effort that produces excellence. Focused, relentless effort that produces excellence. And that is the culmination and the heart or the heartbeat of teamwork, of good teamwork. I'll say that way.
Awesome. Isn't it funny though that the word teamwork it almost lets us know that it's work that's required. It's required that a team accomplishes this work, but yet we still have people that would rather be individuals than a part of the team. And even as you were talking
Absolutely.
about Shaquille O'Neal and late Kobe Bryant, it made me think of, I think it was Magic Johnson who said it. I could be wrong, but um, the saying was everybody on the team may not get publicity, but everybody who's on the championship team gets a ring.
Right there.
So, it's like you got that ring. You may not be the person in the papers and the magazines with the advertisements and all the
Hmm.
gigs, but you're still on the team, and you got that ring and that pin to your credit. So
That's right.
sometimes we just have to realize that our role on that team may not be the out front role, but it might be that our role is somewhere where it may not seem like it's important, but it really is, because without you there, the people out front couldn't exist. And you know this, just being in the army, they have the what we call the rear detachment. The people
Hmm.
support battalions, support brigades in the rear. Somewhere far away from the front lines, and the people are out
Yeah,
there on the front, but they couldn't do what they do without the people that are in the rear doing the support, because the people in the rear are the ones that's making sure that everybody out front has what they need continuously to thrive and to survive. So
that's right.
I think those are all interesting points that you bring up. So
And it's
um,
you know,
go
with
ahead.
Dr. Wade, you when you mention military, of course, my mind, there's so many different aspects, right? Especially when it comes to teamwork. There's so many different aspects to where we learned about teamwork, right? We learned it was the way to do what you had to do. Period. You could not do what you needed to do effectively if you didn't utilize your team, your squad, your platoon, your company, your battalion, brigade, etc. You couldn't do it. You absolutely could not do it. You would fail, you would falter, and you would go down floundering. You would not. I can remember times in the military where we were taught teamwork and we were taught how to work together and how to do something, and we were told you can do it like this, you can do it like this, you can do it like this, but if you do it with these people, you can do it so much better. Watch this. Not only effectively, but you can do it easier. Teamwork. Listen, a lot of people don't want to work with a team because they think it's going to be harder. You're selling yourself short if you're not working with a team. If you're not working with a team, it's harder to do things. It's easier when you have other people doing it. We were doing land nav one time. That's trying to find out where you're going by way of just looking at a map. And I never forget. They told us stay on the path. Stay on the path. No matter what you do, stay on the path. I was in Korea, and we were walking up this mountain, and they told us like, listen, stay in the path. And I was in sergeant school. We called it PLDC. Anyway, we were there, and told us to stay on the path. Well, me and two other guys were thinking. It was three of us together, and one of us said, "Well, you know what? We could get there faster if we cut across from this path to that path. It was going down into a valley and then coming up the other side, and we'd be right on that." And we was like, you know what? We talked about it for a second. It's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we started trekking down. Do you know the instructions told us to stay on the path? This was our first time in this little area. Had we stayed on the path, we would have got to our destination in 5 minutes. It took us 37 minutes to go down into this valley and then back up the hill. Oh, by the way, when we finally met with the rest of the company, not just the platoon or the squad, the rest of the company, it was the one question was asked: why'd you leave the path? Why did you go outside of the instructions in order to accomplish the goal. And of course, we were like, well, we thought it would be easier. And then, of course, the famous line from a drill sergeant, well, there you go thinking again. There you go thinking again. You thinking you know better. And this is something we do every day. We're telling you stay on the path. Guys, we cannot, if this is the only way I know how to say it. How can two people walk together unless they be agreed? We can't go anywhere. If we're trying to go to this place, we're trying to go in this direction, but you're going this way and I'm going this way, and we're joined together, and you're pulling that way and I'm pulling this way, we will never accomplish our goal. We'll never accomplish the task. That's what happens when we're stuck on individualism. That's what happens when we're stuck on not being a team player or not listening to the instructions the, of the one that comes, excuse me, the instructions of the instructions that come from the one that's in leadership. We will fail and we will falter every single time.
Wow. It's interesting. Earlier, when you were talking about teamwork and you mentioned the term outdo me, and we hear that a lot. Well, I'm just going to do me. And I mean, I almost want to say, what, even though I kind of get what people mean when they say that, it's like, I just want to be like, what does that even mean? I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are saying I'm going to do me are not doing anything relevant, or
Right.
doing anything
Right.
to help other people, or doing anything to help a team or organization progress. It's simply just, I'm doing me, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to live, I'm going to live my life, but I'm not going to worry about contributing to any any other person's life, or
Yeah.
any other progressive work. So I don't know what is it about this culture that seems to be the attitude. I'm going to do me.
So that's a great question, Dr. Whitty. And I'm going to make somebody mad when I say this.
That's all right. That's all right. We're
It's,
go ahead.
it is my belief that comes from, okay, I'm going to just say it. It comes from the participation trophy generation. What does that mean? Everybody wins, nobody loses, everybody gets a trophy, da 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 da. We can all be unicorns and rainbows. Everything is wonderful, everything is nice, everything is fun. But that's not life. That's not life. Yes, you can attempt to accomplish your goal, but watch this. Even when you attempt to accomplish your goal, I'm getting excited and tongue tied. Even when you attempt to accomplish your goals, you're going to need someone else to help you accomplish them. That's all there's to it. If somebody says, well, I'm gonna do me and I'm gonna make me some more money, da 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 da. Okay, great. You're gonna make some money. Who's gonna set up your LLC? Somebody else. Who's gonna do your accounting? Somebody else. I can learn it myself. You're right. You can. You can. And you'll probably crash and burn the first year because you didn't know the different things that you need to do. You'll also, well, who's gonna take care of your scheduling? Who's gonna answer the phone while you're out doing what your business does? If you're a carpenter, you can't build cabinets and answer the phone every day, right? I mean, you're gonna need a team. Doing me, cool. I'm gonna do me. Yep. You know, I, whether the individual means I'm not gonna be a part of anyone else's success, or I'm just gonna focus on me. Either way, it's being selfish. I told you nobody's gonna like that. But that's literally what that is. Like, I'm just focused on me, my four, no more. And then hey, we good. We good over here. I don't know about y'all. Y'all can do what y'all want. You know, um,
So,
it's all
what you
good.
say, me, my four, and no more. That's a good one, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't, sometimes I feel like people use the "I'm gonna do me" as a way to say um, I'm not accountable to you, and I'm not gonna be accountable to you. I don't want to be accountable to you or anyone else. I just want to just do whatever I want to do and not have to answer
Right.
for for anything or for anybody. And so,
Or to anybody. Yes.
yeah. And so I get it when people have to focus on their self for a specific reason, be it their mental health or their physical health, their spiritual health. They need to focus on discipline, time management. I get those types of things because sometimes you have to be selfish to take care of yourself, but that's taking care of yourself in a healthy way. But when you're like, I'm going to do me because it's out of, I guess, rebellion in a sense, or because you don't want to listen or be accountable, I think that we have to take a better attitude and think more about that particular concept because it can be detrimental to our forward progress.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
It could definitely, if not stop us, at least slow us down from where we're trying to go.
yeah. So talk to us about how contagious teamwork can be beneficial on a team as it relates to problem solving.
So, imagine you have a problem. You have a problem. Um, and you want it to be solved. You want it to be solved. I don't know everything. You and I are on the same team, right? And I don't know everything. So let's go back to the fact of understanding roles, right? If if um if your responsibility is X and my responsibility is Y, there's a certain expertise that I have that you don't have, and vice versa. When we begin to come together and my flow and your flow becomes contagious, and our team and our synergy gets there, then I'm willing to look to you to say, well, what do you think? How do you think we could do this? And I can say, well, you know what? I'm thinking this. And you can say, well, you know what? I'm thinking this. And then we can bring things together. There's a project that I do whenever I go to a corporation and they want to do something kind of workshoppy, if you will. And I'll let sometimes I'll just do a straight talk. And then sometimes it'll be like a 3-hour workshop. And during the workshop, what I'll do is I'll do exercise and exercise. And depending on the size of the group will determine how many groups we have. But I'll bring in balloons. I'll bring in balloons and I'll bring in scotch. And I say, you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, to build the tallest balloon tower, period. Now, that's all I say. I give them materials and say, go. What happens is something amazing. Individuals begin to immediately define who's going to do what. They begin to immediately say, well, I'm not good at building, but I can blow these balloons up, right? And they begin doing it, and they're focused on blowing the balloons up. Well, somebody else says, well, you know what? I'm pretty good at building bases or whatever, and so I'm going to do that. As y'all blow them up, y'all just blow the balloons up, just hand them to me, and da 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 da. And then some people say, well, I'm good at kind of maintaining things and putting them up. One thing was great. One time I did this with a group or organization, and I don't ever know who's in the room or anything. I don't know what people do or what. So the problem is you gotta build the tallest tower. Well, one person in the group has a business. They work for the company, but they have a business of setting up balloon arches. She's sitting here and she is in her wheelhouse. She is absolutely knowing what's going on. And after it's all over, I said, hey, so how come your group, most of you guys were kind of just standing back? And they said, well, no, we were responsible for blowing the balloons. We let her do it, her do this part. And I was like, why? They said, oh, well, she sets up balloons for weddings and parties and all these kinds of things. That's what she does. In other words, she has the expertise to solve this problem. When we have problems, there are people in our lives that we can connect with, that we can network with, that we can be engaged and involved with so that they can help us do whatever it is, the goal that we're trying to accomplish. Teamwork works when we work as a team. Teamwork works when we work as a team. It doesn't work if we're on a team, but we're all going to do our own thing. It doesn't. And even in that same vein, if you watch basketball right now, you're preparing for the Olympics, and you got the USA basketball team, and it is when you look at the roster, LeBron and Steph and AD and Joel Embiid and Drew Holiday and all the rest, you're sitting here looking like, how could they lose? How could they lose? No, Giannis is not on the team. Luke is not on the team, obviously, because they're from another country. But how could they lose? Easy. Because I told you, it's not talent, it's trust. And the problem they're trying to solve is, how do we get this gold medal to represent our country? How do we represent our country in such a way that we win a gold medal? That's the problem. That's what we're trying to solve. That's what we're trying to get to. Well, these guys that know, LeBron has expertise in this area. Steph's got expertise in this area. Joel Embiid's got expertise in this area. The coaches have expertise that the players may not have. They got it because they're watching from the sideline. They may not, when you're in the game, you see it one way, but when you're watching from the sideline, you see it totally different. You're looking at all 10 people instead of just you and the 4 other people on your team. And so when those individuals really realize, hey, if we work together, we can really do something. A few of us remember a few years ago, the dream team at that time, they lost. And the late Kobe Bryant was on that team. And he says, I'll never forget that feeling of knowing we had a superstar team and we still lost. And we lost because we didn't play together. You gotta play as a team, man. And I gotta trust you enough. I know you got the talent. You're in the NBA. Okay. Everybody in the NBA can play. I don't care if you're the 13th man on the roster. You're in the NBA, right? You're not in the G League. You're better than the G League, and you made it out of college. You're in the NBA. So yes, you can play basketball. Whether you're a role player, point guard, or the team captain or whatever, you're in the NBA. So we all know you can play. But how do we put what you have with what I have, and what we have with what you have, so we can solve the problem? So how does it work when it comes to problem solving? It works when we all have what I was saying earlier, that focus, relentless effort to actually get this task or this problem solved, or the task done. I'm sorry, there's a whole lot more than what you asked me.
No, that's all right. It made me think of an exercise I do when you were talking about your exercise, and I thought about, I do a puzzle exercise where I'll go out and I'll buy about a 50-piece puzzle set, sometimes 100, depending on who I'm working with and how much time. But most of the time I'll use 50, and I'll separate I'll separate the people into groups, and I'll put a puzzle down, and I'll give them a certain amount of time to put that puzzle together. And from the beginning, I usually get a lot of chuckles because people feel like, oh, this is a childish game or whatever. But they play along, and so, like you said, what normally happens is, when I say go, people start, figuring out who's good at this, who's good at that. But every now and then I get a group where nobody does anything except everybody just start grabbing the pieces, trying to put them together, and they're fussing and arguing, and they're getting nowhere. And then the other groups that actually say, well, I'm good at this. I'm good at figuring this out. Somebody might be on a team that's like, I'm really not good at puzzles at all. I'm good at sitting back, just looking and just figuring out. Once I see certain things, I can pick out
Yeah.
where it should go. And so I watch and we watch and observe this, and it's something amazing to watch because people normally do get so many lessons out of it once they actually play the game, and they're like, wow, I see how this teamwork is so crucial to building not only the individual, but the group as well as the overall organization. So it just made me think of that when you were talking about your exercise that you normally do.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going to I'm going to put out one more question, and then we're going to actually go into a commercial break. So before that, I want to say, explain how contagious teamwork can improve individual and organizational morale.
Oh my goodness. Oh my good man. Man. How can it improve morale? Imagine imagine a sports team that goes from worst to first, all because they began to work together. Not because they got a hot shot stud on their team or whatever, but all because they work together. You can take a team of proverbial nobodies, right? And they can beat the team that's got a bunch of superstars. Number one, because they understand the goal. Number two, because they believe in the process to get to the goal, what they have to do. And then thirdly, they execute it. Some people say it like this: you got to know the play, then run the play. That is, can you imagine what it would be like if every company, every organization, if every person in those companies and organizations strive to work together, strive to have a synergistic teamwork, try to have teamwork that's just so connected and so involved with one another. Can you imagine what it would be like? Well, what's the prize for a sports team? It's that ring, as you mentioned earlier. It's holding up that trophy. It's that parade. It's whatever happens in that particular sport. It's standing on that pedestal with them handing you flowers and you getting the gold medal on. Like, it it will change the entire way you do what you do when you see how teamwork works. New England Patriots, the last dynasty prior to, everybody say the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty now, but anyway, New England Patriots, right? They had their mantra. Um, and I'm not talking about, they did some stuff, the watching plays and football deflating and all that. I ain't talking about that. They had a mantra. They had a mantra, and I taught this to the last team I coached, youth of kids, and I think they were 8 to 10 year olds. And I made them all look at each other every play. I said, everybody look at somebody on your team and repeat after me. And they would look at each other and I say, point to them, and I want you to say, do your job. Real simple. Do your job. If your job is to, again, if your job is to run the fake, if your job is to run a slant, if your job is to just be a decoy, do that. When teamwork happens, it will change the entire culture. It'll change everyone's mindset because they see the benefit and blessing that comes from working together. That's why it changes, because they realize, man, we did this. We did this. We wasn't supposed to win, and we won. We were the worst team. We were the worst team, and literally, we were the worst team. We were in fourth place, and we beat the second place team and went to the championship. They knew what they were supposed to do, and they did what they were supposed to do. That, I think somebody in the chat just said, "Know your job." They knew what they were supposed to do, and they did what they were supposed to do. Can you imagine what offices and businesses would look like if people went to work and just did that? Just excitedly did what they're supposed to do. They were so focused, they were relentless, and they gave it their all and just did their job. It will change the culture. How does it change the culture? Because when individuals see how we got here and they see how we won the prize, they'll say, you know what? I'm never going back again.
I agree. I will tell you that every job that I've every team or I would say every team that I was a part of, if I wasn't doing well, it was probably because I didn't know my job. In particular, I think sometimes in reference to sports, well, I was never really good at sports because it wasn't that I couldn't play. I didn't know the job of all these different positions. I didn't know, and I didn't have anybody to teach me because most of the time when it was time to play, the players just wanted to play. They wanted to be individual players. They didn't want to teach you how to play. And I was never really, unfortunately, I was never part of, like leagues growing up or anything like that. So that was the reason why. I mean, I would know little things like I know how to shoot the ball in the net. I know how to catch the ball and run. But all those other little technical things that help you be a part of a great team, that was the part that I was missing. So I can relate. It's good to know your job. And I want to emphasize that know your job.
Yes.
Some people are good at knowing everybody else's job. They don't know what their job. They don't know what their role and responsibility is, but they know everybody else's role and responsibility. So I think it's good that we clarify that as well. So we're going to go to a commercial break really quick, and when we come back, we're going to drop the link in the chat for those of you that are out there viewing and listening to the show. If you have a question or comment that you want to bring to myself or Dr. Cliff Freeman, we want you not to be afraid, but to come on in and pop up and we'll bring you up on stage. We just ask that you be ready and prepared with your question or your comment that's related to the show that we're talking about today. So we're going to go to a commercial break real quick, and we will be right back on Dr. Whitty Today. Stand by.
Presented by Dr. Timothy Felton and Teron Coleman, Black Boys Matter explore the vital role of parental presence in raising Black sons. As Black boys navigate persistent obstacles and challenges, fostering authentic, trusting, and nurturing relationships through positive engagement becomes crucial. Each chapter of this profound manuscript leaves readers with greater understanding and deliberate techniques for addressing the issues these young men face. Get your copy wherever books are sold. Dr. Candicia Randolph's book, The Black American Church, Leadership Dispensation and Challenges, critically examines leadership within the Black church, drawing from historical and anthropological perspectives. It identifies challenges faced by this vital institution in the Black American community and proposes practical solutions. The church's impact on Black culture and leadership is explored, emphasizing its historical context and influence over nearly 5 centuries. Through research and data, the manuscript aims to enhance the church's effectiveness and cultural relevance. Get your copy where books are sold today. Coming up next on Dr. Whitty Today.
But I've always been interested in business. I've always been interested in people, the psychology of people, psychology of business. I've always been interested in entrepreneurship as well. I think there's a very uniqueness to people that want to kind of venture into the entrepreneurial world comparing to those that venture into the corporate world. There's an addiction to either. So at this particular space in my life, I'm exploring the corporate world, trying to see how that works for me, how that works for other people, because it means for my business, when I do have clients coming in that's more corporate based, I understand the background, I understand hierarchy, I understand what their community is like, so I can give better insight. So yeah, there's a lot more to that story, but that's pretty much the gist of where I am, where I'm positioned in life right now.
Okay.
Join us for Leading Across Generations. Dr. Ian Buchanan, a native of East St. Louis, Illinois, is the CEO of the NIA Education Group. He is deeply committed to servant leadership and addressing inequities. His best-selling book, King, a 4-part leadership framework for Black men, is making waves in the leadership community. His extensive experience spans teaching, school leadership, and advocacy. Pick up your copy of King today wherever books are sold.
All right, we're back. We're back. Anybody out there, if you would like to come and ask us a question, if you would like to make a statement about what we're talking about contagious teamwork. I dropped the link in the chat over in YouTube, also here on the StreamYard Live. So if you are out there and you want to ask a question or make a comment, go ahead and utilize that link. We'll see you backstage and we will invite you up onto stage and you'll be live and you'll be able to ask your question or make a relevant comment. So Dr. Cliff Freeman, while we wait to see who might participate, I want you to tell us how contagious teamwork can help enhance skill development.
Oh man. Wow. So check it out. So I'm sorry. Let me be
That's all right.
Let me be professional.
That's all right.
Somebody gonna be like, he a doctor and he was saying, check it out now. So I'm just me. You know, Whitty, we from Charm City. You know, that's how we do. So skill development happens, right? All of us need a coach, right? All of us need a coach. All of us need somebody that can help us do whatever it is that we do. Again, teamwork is exactly where that happens. I like Herm Edwards used to say, coaches got to coach, players got to execute. And coaches are going to coach and they're going to tell us to do what we need to do, what we should do, what we ought to do, etc. And players have to do whatever their responsibility is. So the development happens because you know somebody that knows what they're doing, right? By no means, I'm not a podcast host. I don't have my own podcast. If I wanted to start a podcast, it would be foolish for me to go ask somebody who's never done a podcast, who's never hosted a podcast before, right? It would be totally asinine for me to say, hey, to ask my son who's 18, he's never done a podcast. He knows what a podcast is, but he doesn't have a podcast. But if I wanted to know about sports photography, he's the guy I need to go talk to. If I want to know about podcasting, I call, hey, Dr. Whitty, look, I'm trying to put a podcast together, right? So when we have persons around us and in our areas and in our spaces that know and understand the role in which we're going to be in, or the task in which we're going to begin to tackle, those persons can help our skills be developed more and more and more. I didn't know. I went in the military, right? I knew how to be a civilian. I didn't know how to be a soldier. So what is the first thing they do when you go into the military? You go to boot camp. You go to 9 weeks of hardcore soldiering. No phone, well, when I went, there was no phone, no internet.
13 in my case.
So we had 9 weeks, and then we went to AIT to learn how to drive trucks, and we were there, right? And we were just doing whatever we were told to do. Number one, because we didn't know anything about that. We didn't know anything about being a soldier. And so when you want to know something, you got to grab somebody that knows what they're doing. That's when your skills are developed. That's when your skills are enhanced. That is the crux of teamwork.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I was muted there for a while, but thank you for that response. And we have a guest, Don Watts. How are you? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. We want to welcome you. I'll say welcome you back to Dr. Whitty today, because you've been here before. So great to see you as always. And we're looking forward to your question or whatever your comment is. So it's on you. Go ahead.
I'm a regular here, but so I have a comment, but I want to start off with a question. Could you explain again uh, your perspective when you were talking about the how should I put it? I was about to say gift card, but the participation trophy mentality in relation to teamwork.
So yeah, so a lot of people have started, and I think we were on the we were talking about the I'ma do me kind of aspect, and why, I'ma just be about me and mine, or me, my four, and no more. The participation trophy mindset is often in individuals, and not everybody, but it's often in individuals that feel like no matter what, I still win, even though they didn't do whatever needs to be done. So when we're talking about teamwork, the first thing we got to know is we got to understand my role. But if my role is to do this and I'm not doing that, then then the team is not going to be effective. Right now, the team may win, the team may prosper, the team may win the goal may be accomplished. But many times, I think that folks focus on themselves, and I think it comes from a result of the we're just going to give you a participation trophy. We're just going to give you whatever, and it's not earned, but it's given. That was my point earlier.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I understand it a little bit better now. And I think I understand it a little differently now. And I still disagree. So the the reason why I say like I disagree with that mentality being the reason behind the I'ma do me mentality with people being inherently selfish is because I just have to use like my life experience, my professional experience. From what I've seen, a lot of people don't or have not seen a benefit from actually helping others. So from what I see a lot of people that there'll be like one person who's trying to stretch themselves out and be all that they can be for the team, but then they're not getting any sort of feedback. I see a lot more of that than is just people saying, I'm gonna do me because, I'm gonna because it is trophy mentality or whatever it is. So that's just my perspective on it. I see a lot of people that are doing the work, but they actually get burnt out. And then aside from that, I'm not trying to take this somewhere that it shouldn't be. But if you look at people like us,
Mhm.
for a lot of reasons, we have to learn how to teach and emphasize the value of teamwork. I understand the value of teamwork because of my experiences, and of course, me and DrWhitty have a certain type of like we're real cool. He used to be my first line supervisor, so
Gotcha.
I understand teamwork and going like beyond, just like the sport of football, going into other sports who are individualized, like
Mhm.
me, having been a fighter, even though you're the only person in that ring, there's still a
Yep.
teamwork
There's
aspect to
still a
that.
team. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just gonna be brief because I'm not gonna go long, but he remembers this. So I was preparing for a boxing match. Now, I didn't have many people to help me prepare. I didn't have many people to spar with or train with or anything like that. And even though you're constantly contending against other people, it's still a team because they're pointing out your vulnerabilities,
Mhm.
your where you have a disadvantage, and then they're helping you identify where you have advantages, where you do good, where you do bad. Now, where he came in is with my conditioning, my overall conditioning, and a big part of the mindset piece, keeping me up and encouraged. So
Yeah.
there's a big part of teamwork that underneath it all, I think it's some degree of togetherness,
Mhm.
seeing your value or your success attached to someone else's. And when I look at the people who say, I'm gonna do me, in most cases, I think it's just because they haven't seen in their lives a benefit of attaching themselves to someone else in relation to their success and what they're working for. And I'll stop right there.
And something that's a great point because it's something that's bigger than themselves, right? That I can accomplish this a certain type of way, but for me, like that focused, relentless effort that produces excellence, I can do it in an excellent way when I have other people around me that know what they're doing. That's that synergy that we was talking about. And to your point about being a fighter, being a boxer, being an MMA or anything, any individual sport still has a team. They just not on the same in the same ring, the same field, the same whatever at the same time, in between the lines at the same time. So absolutely, I'm with you 100%. With you 100%.
All right. No, great comment, Donald. I'm gonna have to get you to put that hat is that a D on there? I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to get him to put that in the mailbox, but he took it off. But anyway, he took it
Yeah,
off. So
I'll bring it to you. I'm supposed to be coming up there.
okay.
So
All right. See, we got the DW, so every time I see something, I'm like, wait a minute, I can wear that too, right? But no, great comment. Thank you for that perspective. I like how he said that a lot of people may not see the value of teamwork. And I think sometimes as well that perhaps the example that they did see didn't turn out to be such a great team experience. So that
Sure.
also contributes to their ability to see the value of it because if the way they're introduced to it or have lived their life, through that team concept and it wasn't anything productive or anything that they really felt empowered to be a part of, then they probably would have trouble valuing that particular concept. So they have to be introduced to another idea of what it means to be a team, is what I would say.
Yeah.
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 So,
Absolutely.
so once again, thank you, Donald. It's always a pleasure to have you on the platform. Don't be a stranger, and we'll talk more. All
Appreciate you,
right.
man.
thanks for
Enjoy the
having me.
rest of the show. All right. All right. So that was awesome. That was great. So we are coming up on the end, but I have two more questions that I'm going to um, propose to you real quick before we go off the air. One is, how does contagious teamwork help improve the flow of communication? Because we've all been a part of teams where the communication, it was like a loss of it, a breakdown of it, or
Yeah.
some people held information because they didn't want you to succeed. So how
Mhm.
can contagious teamwork uh, influence the flow of information?
So you remember me saying it's not about talent. Excuse me, it's not talent, it's trust, right? So all of us have been in group chats and we have a thought about something. We want to say something and we don't say something. And the reason we don't say it is not because we don't think it's valid or it will be valued, but we don't say it because we don't feel vulnerable enough to say whatever it is, right? When that happens, when the flow of communication stops, it stops because I don't trust you with what I'm going to share. Period. If I don't trust you to use it or to use it appropriately, or I don't trust you to use it at all because y'all probably think my stuff ain't valid, or because I've only been here 2 months and y'all been here 20 years, you're not gonna listen to me. When we don't feel valued, we don't share. We break down in communication. When I see that my opinion, my thoughts, my views are valued, I will have no problem communicating with the rest of the team, and the team will have no problem communicating with me. No problem with feedback, constructive, good, bad, or otherwise. But teamwork takes feedback. I mean, it takes communication. We have to talk if we're going to accomplish this goal. So I think, just me, that when I feel devalued, I'm not going to say anything. But when I feel valued, I'm all in.
Exactly that. And as you were talking, I just thought of that means that's a part of inclusion. People don't want to just feel like they are being tolerated. They want to feel like they're included. And so you're right. And we've all seen examples. We've been examples of it ourselves where we've said,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to say anything because every time I say something, it doesn't matter. Or I feel like every time I have a question, it's irrelevant. Or if I
Mhm.
make a statement, and then we fall back, as people say, because now we're like, I don't matter. So, and then we feel excluded. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that point up, because you're right. If everybody feels like they're part of the team, if everybody feel like if I voice my concerns, if I ask a question, that I can trust that what I'm saying is going to be valued and respected, then I'm
Mhm.
more willing to contribute than to sit back and feel like I'm not a part of the team. So thank you for
Yeah.
that point. The last one: how can contagious teamwork streamline efforts to achieve the overall organizational goal? And I
How
know
can
that
it str
some part of this, I know that some part of everything we've said contributes to this, but just a little bit more expound on it. How can contagious teamwork streamline our efforts to achieve organizational goals?
how can it
How can it,
streamline it?
how can
Wow.
it make it easier, help facilitate us in achieving
Yeah.
those?
Yeah. It is it's extremely vital. And how can it do it? It's through a myriad of ways, right? Through a myriad of ways. I personally I share a tactical teamwork tip every Wednesday, right? I got an email on the email list or on Twitter or on LinkedIn or on no, I'm actually posting every day. And so whatever that tactical tip is, I post something about it every day for six days, right? It's on YouTube. It's on a YouTube short. So if you're watching this, you can go to my channel on YouTube. You can go to LinkedIn. You can go to Facebook, whatever, and you can see those things. I'll give you one. To communicate is to maintain open and clear communication with other leaders, members, and other team members and leaders. Collaborate, work effectively, not affectionately, in a team, respecting diverse perspectives and skills. When we do these things, there's we and I hate to use this phrase, but literally will be your team will be unstoppable. It will be unstoppable. You'll begin to do things, you'll begin to accomplish goals and accomplish tasks that you never thought you would imagine. Your profits will go through the roof. Your KPIs you're trying to accomplish will happen. Your goals will be met. Your culture is going to change. People are going to want to work for your company and all the rest. It's going to streamline everything when a organization starts working as a team. everything will be everything will be streamlined, and there are a myriad of ways of things that need to be done. um let me can I do this real quick, and I know we got to go. I just want to share there's 5 things every team member should know and do. 5 things every team member should know and do. Number one, understand the goals. And I'm reading this, and this is on. I keep this on my phone. There's understanding the goals. Number two, communicate. Number three, collaborate. Number four, be responsible. Number five, I'm gonna be real cheesy and say you can increase your productivity and performance and profits by bringing me in to help your organization, right? But seriously, you can adapt, right? You can be flexible to what's happening. Those are things you can do. Every team member can know and do them today. Like that doesn't even take rocket science to do that. You can communicate today. You can adapt today. You can be flexible today. You can be exactly what your teammates need you to be. Team members need you to be. And remember, team building is different than teamwork. Teamwork happens after the team has been built. So if you're on the team, just do your job.
Well said, Dr. Freeman. You heard it here live on Dr. Whitty today. Contagious teamwork. I tell you, I'm sure we could talk for another 2 hours on this particular subject, but we only have that 1 hour. So I invite every one of you that are listening and viewing this program today to go back and review it over and over again a couple of times, because I promise you that there is something that was talked about that you did not hear as we were talking about it. Dr. Freeman, I'm going to ask you to think about coming back for an episode called Unselfish Teamwork. And
let me know. I'm here. I'm there. Let me know.
Because as I was preparing for this episode, that concept, dropped. And I was like, wait a minute. Then I thought, is unselfish teamwork the same as contagious teamwork? No, we can talk about something else there, right? So
yes, sir.
Everybody, you heard it here. We are going to do an episode, and we will put it out as soon as we come up with a date and time. I'll talk to Dr. Freeman more about that later, but he's going to come back and do an episode called Unselfish Teamwork. And I look forward to that as well. Dr. Freeman, before we go off here, let everybody know where they can find you outside of Dr. Whitty today.
Got it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it. To everybody on, you can go to the website, cliffreemanspeaks.com, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all three of those. It's the number 1, Cliff Speaks. On LinkedIn, it's Dr. Cliff Freeman. Again, you can find me on any of those outlets. There's merch there. You can, if you want to book a call, if you think I can add value to your company, to your organization, to your group, whether it's 500, 5,000, or 5. Listen, imagine what your organization would look like if everybody worked as a team. All right. Let's link together. Don't be opposed to getting on a call, and let's talk about it.
All right, I am your host, Dr. Whitty of Dr. Whitty Today. I hope your mind, body, and your spirit and your heart have gone to college today. Watching this episode, I can be found on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram, and also on YouTube. Until next time, this is Dr. Whitty Today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Dr. Freeman, please stand by because we still have the after show. We'll see you next time on Dr. Whitty Today.
Thank you for joining us on Dr. Whitty Today. We appreciate your time, and your viewership is the heartbeat of our show. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe. Your support keeps us going, and we can't wait to have you back. So hit the notification bell to find out each time we air live. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, stay motivated, and stay tuned.